Hello everybody, welcome to Hollywood Stars Lifestyle. Welcome back to another amazing video, so please share and subscribe for more videos. Willie Nelson, born April 29, 1933, Fort Worth, Texas, US. American songwriter and guitarist who was one of the most popular country music singers of the late 20th century. Nelson learned to play guitar from his grandfather and at the age of 10 was performing at local dances. He served in the U.S. Air Force before becoming a disc jockey in Texas, Oregon, and California during the 1950s. He also was performing in public and writing songs then. By 1961 he was based in Nashville, Tennessee, and playing bass in Ray Price's band. Price was among the first of dozens of country, rhythm and blues, and popular singers to achieve hit records with Nelson's 1960s tunes, which included the standards Hello Walls, Nightlife, Funny How Time Slips Away, and, most famously, Crazy. By contrast, Nelson achieved only modest success as a singer in that decade. Willie Nelson. In the early 1970s, Nelson moved back to Texas and, with Waylon Jennings, spearheaded the country music movement known as outlaw music. Beginning with the narrative album Red-Headed Stranger, 1975, which featured the hit song Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, he became one of the most popular performers in country music as a whole. Nelson's performances featured a unique sound, of which his relaxed behind-the-beat singing style and gut string guitar were the most distinctive elements. Unusual for a country album, songs by Hoagy Carmichael, Irving Berlin, and other mainstream popular songwriters made up his Stardust, 1978, which eventually sold more than 5 million copies in the United States. Nelson found further crossover success with the album Always on My Mind, 1982, and the single To All the Girls I've Loved Before, 1984, a duet with Julio Iglesias. After making his film acting debut in The Electric Horseman, 1979, Nelson appeared in such movies as Honeysuckle Rose, 1980, which introduced what would become his signature song, On the Road Again, and Red-Headed Stranger, 1986, a drama based on his album. In 1990, the Internal Revenue Service, claiming Nelson owed $16.7 million in unpaid taxes, seized his assets. To raise money, he recorded the album The IRS Tapes, Who'll Buy My Memories, 1991, which initially was available only through phone orders but was sold in stores beginning in 1992. Despite that setback, he continued to record at a prolific pace into the 21st century. His subsequent albums included Across the Borderline, 1993, The Atmospheric Tidro, 1998, and The Reggae-Tinged Countryman, 2005. As Nelson aged into the role of a musical elder statesman, his recordings increasingly focused on traditional songs and covers. Among them were Heroes, 2012, Let's Face the Music and Dance, 2013, a collection of standards, To All the Girls, 2013, a series of duets with female singers, and Summertime, 2016, a set of George Gershwin songs. In 2014, Nelson issued Band of Brothers, which comprised largely new material, and Willie's Stash, Volume 1, December Day, the first in a series of releases from his vast catalogue of recordings. The latter record focused on his collaborations with his sister and pianist, Bobby. God's Problem Child, 2017, and Last Man Standing, 2018, are collections of original meditations on mortality. Nelson's later albums included My Way, 2018, and That's Life, 2021, both of which pay tribute to Frank Sinatra, Ride Me Back Home, 2019, and First Rose of Spring, 2020. Throughout his career he recorded with dozens of other singers and released album-length collaborations with such musicians as Jennings, Merle Haggard, and jazz trumpeter Wynton Marsalis. Nelson was the recipient of numerous Grammy Awards. In addition to his own performance career, Nelson produced annual 4th of July country music festivals in Texas and elsewhere, and in 1985 he co-founded Farm Aid, which organized festivals to raise money for farmers. Nelson was a well-known and enthusiastic connoisseur of marijuana, and, after a few states legalized the drug's sale and purchase, he launched, 2015, a marijuana supply company, Willie's Reserve. He penned several memoirs, with co-authors, including Willie, an autobiography, 1988, Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die, Musings from the Road, 2012, and It's a Long Story, My Life, 2015. Me and Sister Bobby, True Tales of the Family Band, 2020, was written by the siblings, and it chronicles their relationship. He also wrote, with Turk Bipkin, Willie Nelson's Letters to America, 2021, an epistolary collection that includes stories, advice, and jokes. Nelson was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1993. He accepted a Kennedy Center honor in 1998, and in 2015 he received the Library of Congress Gershwin Prize for Popular Song. Activism. Nelson is active in a number of issues. Along with Neil Young and John Mellencamp, he set up Farm Aid in 1985 to assist and increase awareness of the importance of family farms, after Bob Dylan's comments during the Live Aid concert that he hoped some of the money would help American farmers in danger of losing their farms through mortgage debt. The first concert included Dylan, Billy Joel, B.B. King, Roy Orbison, and Neil Young among many others, and raised over $9 million for America's family farmers. Besides organizing and performing in the annual concerts, Nelson is the president of the board of Farm Aid. Nelson is a co-chair of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, NORML, advisory board. He has worked with NORML for years, promoting marijuana legalization. In 2005, Nelson and his family hosted the first annual Willie Nelson and NORML benefit golf tournament, leading to a cover appearance and inside interview in the January 2008 issue of High Times magazine. After his arrest for possession of marijuana in 2010, Nelson created the Teapot Party under the motto Tax It, Regulate It and Legalize It. Guitars. In 1969, the Baldwin Company gave Nelson an amplifier and guitar with their Prismatone pickup. During a show in Helix, Texas, Nelson left the guitar on the floor of the stage, and it was later stepped on by a drunk man. He sent it to be repaired in Nashville by Shot Jackson, who told Nelson that the damage was too great. Jackson offered him a Martin N20 classical guitar, and, at Nelson's request, moved the pickup to the Martin. Nelson purchased the guitar unseen for $750 and named it after Roy Rogers' horse Traeger. The next year, Nelson rescued the guitar from his burning ranch. Constant strumming with a guitar pick over the decades has worn a large sweeping hole into the guitar's body near the sound hole. The N20 has no pick guard since classical guitars are meant to be played fingerstyle instead of with picks. Its soundboard has been signed by over 100 of Nelson's friends and associates, ranging from fellow musicians to lawyers and football coaches. The first signature on the guitar was Leon Russell's, who asked Nelson initially to sign his guitar. When Nelson was about to sign it with a marker, Russell requested him to scratch it instead, explaining that the guitar would be more valuable in the future. Interested in the concept, Nelson requested Russell to also sign his guitar. In 1991, during his process with the IRS, Nelson was worried that Traeger could be auctioned off, stating, "When Traeger goes, I'll quit." He asked his daughter, Lana, to take the guitar from the studio before any IRS agent arrived there, and then deliver it to him in Maui. Nelson then concealed the guitar in his manager's house until his debt was paid off in 1993.